Okay, welcome to my final project presentation for the course Big Data Processing. This is my take 2 because my take 1 took way too long. Anyways, my project was that I created basically a smartwatch simulator which would send data from which would simulate incoming data from a whole bunch of smart watches from a certain area. And I wanted to create an integrated framework and architecture which would enable the users to analyze data from the smartwatch and to gain insights into raw data as well as aggregated metrics. To do this, I set up the following processing pipeline. I started off with a Kafka producer, which would generate the events, and then I would go 2 paths. So first of all, I used Kafka Elasticsearch connector to stream the data from Kafka directly into Elasticsearch to create a raw database, and then to visualize the raw data with Kibana. And the second path I followed was from the Kafka producer. I linked this with Spark streaming, where we would calculate aggregated metrics. So one of the metrics was the total user count by sports, so hiking, skiing, swimming, whatsoever, and then the respective count of users. And then the second one was the same thing, but only for the last 10 seconds. So how many different users do we have for each sports in the last 10 seconds? I then let the program send those calculated metrics into Cassandra. And originally I wanted to visualize those data with Redash, but in the course of my project I decided against it due to security concerns, because I would have had to open up Cassandra to the outside world because the Redash servers are remote and not locally hosted. More to that is in the solution document. So here's the software that is needed for this project. I'd like to rebuild the architecture and the respective versions. One thing to notice here is that Elasticsearch and Kibana run on not the most recent version, because in the most recent version, Elasticsearch deprecated the use of multiple mapping types, which are needed to use the Elasticsearch connector. So I just used an earlier version. Regarding the setup, so as you can see here, Elasticsearch is running, Kibana is already running, Zookeeper is already running, Cassandra is already running. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, Kafka is already running. Oh, that's actually the Kafka ES connector. Then Kafka is running, and what else do we have? Oh yeah, and then I used CSCIE88 to create a key space and tables within Cassandra. So much to the setup. That was just a quick head start into this because we don't have time for anything else. Now coming to the real project. So the Kafka producer is the one that produces my data, obviously. So I'm going to start this and let it run. Checking the time. Yeah, we're good in time. And then quickly streaming. Starting the data streamer, which is just the program which which talks to Cassandra basically and calculates the aggregated metrics. Just waiting for this now to start because we're running out of time. Let's start this again. There we go. Okay, so on top you should see now. I haven't pinned this. I should basically pin the consoles. So on top you can see the data streamer, which will take some time to start. And meanwhile, I can already show you what's going on in Kibana here. So all those events are getting directly streamed into Kibana. So you can see here that one event is will take like a random sport, like a heart rate in a certain range, a user ID, a timestamp, a stress level of the user, like things you could potentially like record with a smartwatch. Yes, and then we could visualize those. Let's quickly do this, like one example. On the y-axis, we want the average of, let's say, heart rate. And on the x-axis, we're creating a timeline. So we choose the data histogram. Oh, no, we don't want that. Let's see whether this is working now. Yes, so I actually limited the range in which of times and dates in which the events take place. So this is just like a very small part of it. You could, of course, like if you would stream real data, you would get like, you would see the whole graph, like would get events on different times, different dates, but that was just like for testing purposes. And then let's see how Cassandra is doing. You can see here in the upper half that our data streamer is basically like processing the data which is incoming. In the lower, which you can see in the lower console, which we'll stop now. And now we quickly go into SH and query Cassandra. Where is it? There we go. So here you can see that it's it would list the 4 different sports and would count the unique users per different sports. We could do the same for, oh, haven't I done this? 1 second. There we go. And here you can see it from the last 10 seconds. So obviously the last 10 seconds have fewer unique users in them. Yeah, that's about it. That's like a way to kind of like process the data incoming from IoT devices. And I hope you enjoyed that. For any more questions, please refer to the final project solution document.